stand tall. Words of blades that never fall, debated warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall. Words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited, mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. In the ring we stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Heard. Will be heard. Will be heard.
Spartans! What is your profession?
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it. Another episode, another stream, another crazy night. Of course, you're at the only place you want to be. Spartan SQ Network. This is the show of shows, the Spartan Arena. I got a little bone to pick with somebody. But before I pick that bone, let's get my boy. He's known as Little Groot, but he got nicknamed last weekend as Baby Groot. Let's get his ass in here. David, you can
Yeah,
thank your boy Eric for Baby Groot.
I don't know why you want to call me Baby Groot for. How can a 6 foot tall, grizzly like human being straight from the motherland be a Groot?
See, I
I'm
gotta go on.
I'm I'm
Before we get
okay.
into
I no, I'm okay when people call me Congo of the Myth because yeah, we got a lot of strong ass barbaric gorillas in our country, in our continent. Yeah, gorilla
Mhm,
would be a thing, but a Groot, I don't
mhm.
know.
So I have a little tantrum to go on right now. And I kind of
Oh
spoke
boy,
to you in the background. So I ordered from Instacart water because I ran a little water and my delivery comes in tomorrow. I get it delivered to the house because I'm too fucking lazy to go get it myself. And it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, whatever. I ordered 2 cases of Deer Park bottles, and I ordered one big case of smart water for myself. Oh, we getting to the point that we're getting water in cans too now. What the fuck?
only in America.
It doesn't taste any fucking difference. Maybe get a little colder because the metal, metal's a higher deductible. I'll give him that. But
Like I
water,
said,
seriously?
only in America.
Don't you even start, Eric, because you know it very well. You called him baby Groot on Saturday.
And yeah, I'm a big gorilla-sized human being. I ain't no Groot.
I'm not done with my tramp here. Let me get seriously. Are we getting to the point I'm paying extra money for a can of fucking water? I can't. The same amount of money I will probably get for a was it 24 ounce or some shit like that, bigger bottles.
How you sure they didn't strike a deal with Donald Trump since they're going to a tariff war and they're getting screwed over? I don't know. Oh, I'm not sure about canned water.
I don't see the
Mhm.
I don't taste any difference. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna sit there and tell you, oh yeah, it tastes better. It tastes worse. It tastes the exact same fucking water. It tastes like fucking goddamn water. You telling me a can is more than a fucking bottle of water? What the fuck is this shit?
Unless the people that buying the manufacturing of the bottle is coming from outside the country and they're gonna afford the manufacturing part of things, so they have to revert to only mean a can only they can do in the US.
Uh, it says can taste better and is better for the. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with it or something like that. Hey, what's
Mm,
going on?
it depends on
And we got
how you recycling the can. Because other nations have figured out a way to recycle plastic, make it far better use to the point whereby they're building houses out of plastic. Something America could have done a long time ago. Oh yeah, I forgot. They're too
see
late to do that here.
here's what Eric says. He says, get over it. Yeah. Eric, fuck off. Said it's worse the selling water in paper like milk cartons. The milk carton part I understand because it's been going on for years and years and years. But water in paper, that's another cheap steak, I think. And
Uh, don't forget now we have paper straw, no more plastic straw. That's it.
plastic are wicker than.
Here the problem. The problem with the recycling method they do in the US because for one, they don't want to pay for the work. Two, they're getting too lazy. Three, they're being outsourcing the recycling to other countries to do it for decades. American public have not been paying attention to how corporate America have been bamboozling them, making money off of their slow behind. Now all of a sudden this bullshit about the tower. They ain't making no manufacturing job no here. All I know is looking for another way to rip up American people.
Bro,
Here's what
back
it
in
is.
when I lived in New York, where you're from, I used to collect bottles. Not joking you. I used to make a couple $100 off that shit back in the day.
When we were
I don't know if
kids,
they still
yeah.
do.
When we were kids. Now, no kid allowed to do that. That turf have been taken over by homeless people. So if you even try, oh, let me collect a. Don't even try it out here in New York, please. That have been taken over. They'll go fight you over your only mean they can.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the show, David. This is a topic that you are loving to talk about.
Not really. I don't really love. I really hate it because it's like so freaking
I don't give a
annoying.
shit.
I know you don't. I know you don't give a shit because how many times this topic have been on mainstream TV and yeah, people coming back on forward calling all type of weird name. This, you know how many talk show have talk about this plenty of
I,
time, and some people will get I don't know canceled or speaking against it or calling out their bullshit or calling out the over sexualization of.
all right. So the topic tonight is, why does sex sell? I want your opinion, David.
My opinion, or my
And
honest.
I have my opinion. I'll blow you up on this one.
Okay, I've been uploaded to the mainstream. Hello, everybody. This is CBN Tech Talk, aka Black David, aka Bear Paw, aka Black Heart. Today's topic: why does
Don't
sex
forget Baby
sell?
Groot.
I am not Baby Groot. I'm sorry. I'm too big to be a Baby Groot. This
Little
big,
Groot.
not even little. I'm 6 foot tall. I could be a madman at times. So Groot don't fit my criteria. But anyway, this topic: why does sex sell? This is another 30-year-old battle that we have done on the mainstream media. Now we're doing the podcast. Sex sell because the people in the power and be want to make as much money, squeeze as much dollar they can get out of the public because it allow people to, how you want to say, under the guise of freedom, explore and exercise their such freedom. Now, are we making a big mistake pushing sex in the mainstream and everything? Hate to say this, hell yeah. Look at the type of society we have today. And look at the type of environment that we are exposing our children in, so to speak. If anybody who grew up with me, I'm about to be 47 this year, grew up in the 80s or the 70s, you know there's a level of morality that was still available within today's society at that time, back then. Because we were protecting our children so they can be kids. We wasn't exposing them to a bit too much of anything and everything. But since you want to put it out there, well, let's look at it. What was the first experimental program they were pushing sex upon kids? Yeah, I know that TV show called Degrassi. And what neck was it under? Nickelodeon. Does that sound familiar to you? So imagine a TV show would be a young soap opera show where they were slowly, in small doses, pumping in sex, sexualizing your kids, sexualizing your young teenagers behind your back because you didn't pay attention to what they were watching. Then after they succeed in that, they do it in the cartoon. Like let's see. The Airbender, the last Airbender, and that was the Book of Kotor and a bunch of other I don't know, woke cartoons, so to speak, which I find it let's be real. If anything concerning sex, that should be with consulting adults, not kids. But when you shoving it out there in the public in full force, you open a door of all kind of things that can prey upon your family without you even realizing it right now. Now I see why the eastern coast or the eastern region of the world are laughing at the U.S. becoming a debacle of chaos. And why is that? You have all type of bullshit going on. They don't know what the hell they're doing themselves. And the fact that we are opening the door for pedophiles to enjoy their so-called sexuality, which I still don't get it. Sex is meant for people who can make those type of decisions and deal with end result, either be good or bad. But when you put it on young kids who have not fully grown to be on their own yet, they can't even pay their own bill yet, or even pay rent, or talk about secure a job yet. Don't have survival skills, but yet trying to make adult decisions in the children's mind. And here's some of the people talk about they want to kill themselves over some stupid break by the age of 12, 13, 14, 15. But yet we have this bullshit going on in the US more often than anything else. So the East is dying out due to lack of baby making. And part of it because they were trying to control it at one point, which, yeah, Paul, you are correct. I remember that back in high school. We were doing a history class about the dynamic going on in China. Why they have a one baby or two baby policy? For what reason? Why would they really behind that? Due to quote unquote overpopulation. Because God forbid, if you have more than two kids, you and your family will be exiled from the country because they can't take care of your too many kids. And now they need more people, more body. But since you have just what they call social programming, so you have that 2 or 1 kid policy, you social program your society not to want to have kids. Unless you want to fix that problem in China or in the East, you get a bunch of pookies from here. We sell it for you for cheap. You put them on a cargo plane. For each body of pookie we give you, you give us something in return, right? We ship them over to China, in the poor regional area. Yeah. You let the pookie run amok. And I'm sorry if you get too many baby mama, but at least you pop a lot more kids who go join the workforce. I'm not saying you to promote single moms, but y'all need more babies, right? So what the quickest fix for now? That's the best fix, the quickest fix. Send the Pookie over there. Let her run amok. Or you give them that incentive to have more kids, whereby you don't care they have too many baby mama as long as they live under the same roof and they hold that responsibility, and you pay them to keep that ass there, then they will put in a lot of babies for you to join the workforce. That makes you have a better healthcare system to manage it. So to speak. I digress. Okay, Eric. Wanna go history lesson? Yeah, we had that back in the day. But back in the day, we didn't have women wearing man clothes or man clothes wearing women clothes, did we?
All right, we're not going down that rabbit hole. We're not. No, no, no. We're not going down the rabbit hole tonight. No, 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 no. We're not doing that. But here's okay. Here's the thing about sex cells, in my opinion, and this is only an opinion, not historical facts, not scientific fact. It's my personal opinion. I
Okay.
don't think the sex thing is only in the United States. I think it's across the board, all over the place.
I get it.
Yeah, I remember going to Greece, visiting, and excuse me, and everything. I looked around like bikinis, thongs, this, that. I was like, shit. I'm like, I need to get laid. I was thinking my whole time up there.
I think
But
with Greece that you're responsible for that because your country is a history of having naked statue. And I would think as a young kid, like, who in their right mind naked like seriously, like,
I'm proud of that, actually.
see?
Well, hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, I'm gonna shoot through one question. All right, this country was built on three things, in my personal opinion. Okay, do you know what those three things are?
Give me an idea. 'Cause I wanted to see what your view is.
I'm not gonna give you. I'm just gonna tell you instead. All right, guns, money, sex. My personal opinion. Why do you use those three? If you remember when we first came to the country again, I know the argument that Colombia isn't found in America, whatever. I don't care who found the country. When they came over, they came here guns blazing and taking over the guns. Then they figured, oh, it's gold here. There's the money. Then they realized, oh, we can uh how can I put this? We can literally spread our seed, like they called it back in the day. That's where the sex slaves came in, the brothels, and everything else.
And I get it. The reason that they came over here to do that, they were getting denied over there at their country. They were getting no place. They were the ancient simp
Yeah. Not
of
only they're getting
society.
denied, they had if they didn't get denied, if they got denied, they went to the brothels to go to the prostitutes. So
No, and I get it. So I'm not doing historical. I'm just saying from that explanation, that's where the first ancient simp came to land on this country. They came here for that for the simple fact they were getting no play at their home country where they came from. So the simple fact they got on a
the only
boat.
pushback I got with that, David, back then, it was a little different because if you didn't have a job, you became a pirateer, not a pirate, a pirateer. That was actually the correct term.
Hmm.
So when you're going to port, people imagine them like Captain Sparrow or Assassin's Creed. They're all tattooed it
I
up.
I
It's
get
some of
it.
the war.
I get it. But here's the problem. The group of men who came off the boat to the land they found in America had no play at all. They were the ultimate simp. So they bought their simp seed and sold it in America. And they produced far more different type of breed of simp over time. So let's just say the simp nation started from the founder, the so-called founder themselves. They should take the L for that one.
And I'm not denying that, David. What I'm trying to say to you right now, this country was built around those three things. And if you watch anything on TV now,
Hmm.
somehow, some way, it goes back to what word?
Sex.
Bingo.
And
It's the shit.
you didn't hear my monologue. The first show they tested on was Degrassi, and I caught on to it from the first scene. I was like, "Do any parent know what being pumped into their children's face?"
And it's funny because when I watched it back in the day, I was a lot older. I was like, I say late teens, early 20s.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Degrassi, the first show that Drake got his first TV gig. Drake was a no-namer who got into acting, and he started his rap career toward to the end of his career in Degrassi,
It
to
was
be
a
honest.
gateway for him. That's how he
Pretty
career
much.
started. It's nothing wrong with that. It was a lot of other rappers became great rappers, but they were better actors. It's like screw this rapping thing, it's too much work. Let's do the acting thing instead,
Hmm.
or and vice versa. And whatever. I'm not trying to knock the guy. He does
I'm
have
not I'm
talent.
I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying how he came in, but that show as well was the executive first try to see how much they can pump sex into the young generation without parents even realizing it. But none of
I
that
don't think
never
they were trying to do that on purpose. That's one thing I will. I don't think they were trying to do that on purpose.
really.
I don't think so, dude. I'm gonna stick to my guns on this one.
And I stick to my gun. They have been trying it for so long. The fact that they were successful with the Degrassi, they started into cartoons. You watch
That
what?
was doing it. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna push back on it. They were doing that with cartoons way before the rest was a thing.
Yeah, but the cartoon they were trying to do that. It was too obvious, and they were getting pushed back. Lately, after Degrassi, it got Benny Hinn. Oh, see, thank you, Eric. Benny Hinn with a UK show was for late night. I remember watching Benny Hinn back in the 80s. He sometimes he don't speak. You did that little funny soundtrack to be playing, and he running around. It was a late night show for grown adults. And sometimes some of us in the 80s, you should not be staying up late watching, and we get in trouble for that. I remember Benny Hill. So that was the thing. But the Degrassi was catered to a show only for preteen and teenager. But slowly but steady, they were introducing sex into that a lot more than unusual. So this is where the wokeism came into play.
All right, I'm gonna give you an example right now because I'm gonna push back a little bit. This is I just typed in 80s cartoon women, right?
Hmm.
Okay, if you see right there, you can see the nice booby action right here. You can let's scroll a little down more, see what else we can find. Like here's another one. That's a newer version. Okay, I'll give you that. LP, that's a newer one. All right, this one. Here we go. Again, sexuality. Want to
That
keep going?
jam show. I get it, but let me ask you the question.
Thundercats. There you go.
A leotard, I get it, but what an actual sexual act you can be? It wasn't feeling that way at all. To be honest with you, I remember watching Thundercat all the way through and He Man. It wouldn't show that much sexual to begin with, but my question was how you would have put the character. You want to draw the female flat chested, like they didn't have no feature whatsoever, no difference between men or female. I'm wondering because when they draw the guy, they had to draw the feature.
And
I
again,
get
Paul
that.
has a great a point here, and he goes, have any of you read comic books?
Yes.
And he's right. Actually, comic books. Here's the thing. At one point, comic books were under a. I can't remember what boards they
FCC,
were under.
FCC
Um,
regulation on the media.
whatever they
So
were called. So Stanley actually has said this on multiple interviews. When he drew, a woman, he didn't draw her, but when the drawer drew for him, he was right, not a drawer, and the cleavage was too high. They told him, "Oh, you gotta take that out and do this." I remember he did a story once on Spider-Man. One of the characters was heavy on drugs. You couldn't even spoke about that. They you know what he said? Fuck that! I'm still publishing without their stamp of approval. You had that stamp to push it out
mhm.
back then. So anyway, he pushed it. He did it, and that was one of his best comic books at the time, obviously. But
It would take
Paul
you
has a
somewhere.
very, very, very good point. Comic books here. Let's look up comic books for 1 second here.
But the people that read comic book wasn't that huge as much because remember the people that go into comic book, they were considered to be a name they call them nerd or dweeb because we were into comic, really into what everybody was into, to the drinking, to the smoking, to the showing off, all the other stuff. Comic book was a nerd society type of thing at that time. There wasn't much of a huge impact like he is right now. But I get what people trying to point at the comic books. Okay, fine, but let's be honest though.
Here we go. Eric said it. The comic book code of authors.
Authority, the comic book
Yeah,
authority,
sorry, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. My apologies.
CCA. But still, when you're drawing characters, how do you expect them to draw the character? Let's be honest.
No,
Stick figures?
I understand that, but some of them are over sexualized. Let's be straight here, bro. Let's go. Hang on.
I
It
know,
says
I know.
it quacks like a duck. It walks like a duck. It is probably a duck.
And I hate to say the people who over sexualize characters in books more than anything else were manga writers. You should look what manga be drawing.
I
Manga
got a
be
better
drawing.
one for you right now, my man.
I'm
Video
telling
game.
everybody, look at any Japanese manga, they would abusing it. Ain't
Bro,
no regulations. They let you know. They were
video
slapping
games
it.
were 10 times worse.
What?
Sexuality? Seriously?
Who were worse? Which one worse?
Video games.
Me the one that used to be on G G4 TV late night. They'll let you know about
I'm
all
not
the
even
X.
talking about. I'm not even talking about the show, the game shows. I am talking about actual video games. I'll give you a good
Uh,
example.
I'm
Where
talking
my name
about.
comes
Hold on.
from God of War. I got hang. God of
Okay.
War. In that movie game, they had a scene. You didn't see him actually
I know
having sex. You heard
they
him
had.
moaning,
It,
the banging,
no,
and if
I
you
know.
bang it hard enough, you get extra rubies. You
I
cannot sit
know
there and
about
tell me
that. I know
GTA.
about. I know that because I played that game. And I remember when they were developing it, they talked about how they were trying to find a way around without getting how you call censored. As long as it didn't see and they'll say they can pull that crap off. Grand Theft Auto were doing the same exact thing. The only problem is the regulation, the FTC was going heavy on everybody who were trying to push the envelope. And yet, Paul, the Japanese were abusing it over there. They had to get an act that was showing that. G4 TV was showcasing games that were banned from the US. That was on their
But
gaming console.
GTA was the one that was on fire hard. They were trying to pull that shit off the market when I was a kid at one point.
Oh yeah, they talk about they teaching kids how to rob, how to shoot cop. How, 'cause that was the first thing. Then later on, it got worse. Talk about they were packaging second because we were on Grand Theft Auto 3, whereby you pick up a hooker and you put on a car and don't show the back of the scene or the car shaking, and you put something invert it shake more, then you get a dollar sign. You get more money out of it, something like that,
And
or you
that's
lose
my
money.
point. Again, I'm going back to my original statement. The three things that's made this country is one of them. The top threes are sex is in it. You cannot sit there and argue with me, David. With it, you see it
I'm
everywhere.
not.
You was it. I'm not saying you're arguing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm speaking in generalized right now. I'm saying sex is everywhere. You have it in cartoons. You have it in comic books. You got it in video games. God's sakes. Look at Mario, for example, bro. Mario is going after the princess. Well, the little Mario is
Yeah,
little
Mario from
Mario might help him sometimes.
Mario from an Italian background next door to the Greek, so blame both of y'all.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
Here's a great point. He's bringing out. So Batgirl. So it was a scene in one of the newer animes. Is it anime or cartoon? I can't remember. I don't know how I
What
want to
name?
categorize it.
What the name of the anime?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I think it's anime.
Because there's some
Batman,
anime.
Batgirl shows she literally takes her shirt, her bash,
Oh,
her
that's the
costume.
Daphne Ninja versus the Justice Yakuza, that new anime you're talking about.
It's a little more older than that. A little, I think it's under the anime. But anyway, she literally takes her shirt off, sees her. You see her literally wearing her bra, and she's literally about to fuck the shit out of Batman. And it obviously they cut off the scene. She takes her shirt off, she starts kissing him, and it fades away.
Hmm.
Batman Forever. I'll give you another example there. So the bat sign's on. This who was it? Therapist was there, but she's not just hanging out there, David. She's in her lingerie.
Let's put it like
And
this. The American media industry have been trying to push this sex thing down our throat for the ages. And reason why, I remember back in the '80s, we had Playboy and Hustler. The owner were fighting against the public because they were. With the guy from Hustler, he was the first one that made that move. Then the guy from Playboy, they followed suit because he wanted to see if the guy succeed. And since they got it legalized, every other media say, okay, we can push this thing piece by piece. But lately, almost up to now, almost every line of media you can think of, if it's not podcast, it's the mainstream media. If it's not the mainstream media, it's the movie. If it's not the movie, it's a TV show. If it's not the TV show, it's an anime show. If it's not the anime show, it's the reality show. If it's not the reality show, it's the game show. Like anything and everything is putting down our throat to the point where they even putting that in our school system, whereby, oh, you're not a boy or girl, you're non-binary. My,
we're not going that route. Let's
I'm
keep
not
that
saying
out of the conversation.
I'm not going to. I'm just saying how far it went.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that bit, dude. You have little girls wearing things on their pants on their rears. That's more a woman thing, not even a teenager.
I'm even mad with the children play store. You selling clothes that would adult theme for. I was saying that for more than 2 decades. I'm like, yo, like, no offense. How do parents come to these stores and buy children clothes for their kids and not realize something is like you're pushing a new fashion and the fashion is so obvious. And I'm thinking like, I'm sorry. I remember back in my culture, I'll get my ass whooped if I put the type of clothes on my kids. There's things wrong with me. But we say that in the public so much to the point whereby it doesn't even matter anymore. Thank God to some of the fathers who had to, I hate to say it, shame their kids. So since you can wear, I can wear. I'm sorry, you're not gonna find this big African gorilla wear my daughter clothes that too revealing just to prove a point. You out of your goddamn mind. You can't pay me
Bro,
enough money.
I'm gonna show you something because I pulled this up just now. Hang on, and I'm gonna play the first video after this. This is what they used to dress early 2000s. So again, a lot of skin showing.
We were, trust me, we were aware about the early 2000s. And we were aware in back then, early 2000s, a lot of principal was sending kids home, telling you, you come to school like this, you get sent home. And here's the thing, I used to work for the board of
Right here,
ed and
here's again. This is why he's my
I know,
guru
but
guy here.
here's the thing.
My president.
Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, I used to work for the board of education and Dell back then, which means the job that I had, I was responsible for supplying and installing computers and laptop projectors and printers to all the schools in New York. It would include the elementary school, it include the middle school, it include the high school, it also include the adult learning center. Some of these schools, during the process when we were doing the installation, we saw students who went to the bathroom, right? They put away a particular uniform, switch out and wear the clothes they did not take from their home. They got to their friend, they keep for them because they know the mom will whoop them or kill them or their dad. Went in the bathroom to change and wear skimpy ass clothes. That's what's going on.
I'll give
We
you a
saw that
better
a lot.
example, David. Yeah, I'll give you a better example. Then we're going into the first video, right?
Okay.
We both love it. We both enjoy watching it. 3 letters. WWE.
Yeah,
You
we
can
watch
tell
it.
these. I'm sorry.
We know we watch WWE, and thanks to Vince
You can
McMahon,
tell these women. Hang. You did not tell me these women wrestlers are over sexualized.
I cannot say they're not. And who started it?
Vince, dude, when he was still running it back in the Attitude Era,
Oh Lord.
Remember the strip down matches?
Oh Lord, don't remind me, please.
Yeah.
He
Or
is.
by accident, her pants came off. Or a shirt.
It wasn't no accident. The worst one was Edge and Lita were doing their
Nasty.
initiation in the middle of the
Nasty.
ring. Yeah, with the belt. I was like, okay, you know what?
They weren't really actually acting out. They really they
I
said
know,
that.
I know they were acting, but here was the problem. The fact that Vince allowed this thing to go on, and he know there were a lot of young kids in the
It was
audience.
his goddamn idea, bro.
He was pushing the envelope more than anybody else. We don't blame anyone. Mainly, blame
You
it
want to
on
bring
Vince.
him up now? You really want to say what happened to this motherfucker?
Who, Vince McMahon?
Yeah.
What
What
he
is
look
he
like now?
charged for now? What is he getting sued for?
Oh, a lot of. There's a
But what is the
lot.
major thing I'm asking you, David? What is the major one? Number one.
Grape.
You want to call it rape, sex trafficking, whatever you want to call
No,
it.
remember we can't say certain word on YouTube. That would take grape.
That's what I said. Great.
And not only that, he was using certain people as a tool to recruit other people. One in particular, he haven't come back to wrestling ever since because of that. Because we don't know if he will ever be allowed to come back. But
Oh, you mean
since,
Brock Lesnar?
yeah. And
But
since
that is allegedly because no one knows he was actually involved in that.
I know, but here's the problem. Since the company is no longer under Vince McMahon wing, it's under TKO. TKO have made some policy changes because Vince kind of like screws himself out of his own product, which his father never wanted to give to him to begin with.
Oh, I'm not arguing one bit with that, David. He sued himself. The rumor's been going around for a while. He's been trying to get his head. He's poking his head back in it, but he's
He
never going
can't.
to get himself.
He can't even poke his head in without getting his head chopped off. So that is an iron claw war set up where he's never coming back. He can't. It is what it is. He got himself canned out.
I
But what
think
he did,
the one rumor I kind of do believe in a little bit is he's starting a new company, and that's a whole different conversation for another time.
and I will.
Hey, we're getting off topic. Let's play the first video and we'll go from there. All right, David?
Okay.
Because I don't want to get off too much topic here.
I'm not going up. I'm just saying
Not me, I said.
the people who keep pumping the sex cell who was making money off it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, he wanted the big promoter of that. Yeah, I'm ready.
Sex in advertising has been a staple for as long as advertising itself has existed. From subtle hints to overt displays, sexual imagery has evolved. reflecting and shaping societal attitudes. This video explores how sex appeal has grabbed consumer attention and influenced societal views on gender and sexuality.
No, duh. You know, what I mean, let's be real. I used to work for the company called Estee Lauder. This is a fashion corporation, parent company. At the time, they had 15 fashion company under the umbrella with Tom Hilfiger, Mom, MAC Cosmetic, Tom Ford, you name a few. Now it went on to 27. And listening to from past podcasts, we realized today's market is built only for the sake of women spending their money more than anything else. Because in reality, who spend more money in anywhere, man or woman? Man, we don't really buy. Let's be frank here. The only time we spend money because of the woman. It wasn't because of the woman. You're not going to spend the money. We were stacking and let that money grow. But we don't buy cosmetic. We don't buy makeup. We don't buy huge amount of clothes that you barely even wear. We don't buy tons of lingerie. It's like everything is all about imagery. And advertising have been going. That's been going on since with the 60s or the 70s. They start making all that crazy changes all of a sudden. From the one piece bikini, they want to start tripping. Okay, no, let's make it a little more provocative so we get more sales. They were doing all kind of things that would make women go, Google Gaga, I gotta have that. Google Gaga, I want that. Google Gaga, how much that is? You have an
All right,
industry
hang
that
on, David. I'm going to use a better example. All right, most of you guys know I'm originally from Greece. Commercials in Greece are kind of funny. A girl comes going walking, do 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 do. All of a sudden, she comes out like Coca-Cola, and she's in a bikini. What? Okay, okay.
no,
Dude, you really want me to
look,
strip down in my
look,
box and do it on camera?
hey. Don't let us get the whole team come and jump you and like you go put you in the straight jacket and say you're not allowed to do none of that craziness over here. All right?
No. Oh, joking aside, actually, Fluffy, the comedian, actually did something, a sketch about it once. I thought it was hilarious, and it is hilarious, I think. But he's actually a good point. In Mexico, where he's from, they do something, dancing, like Coca-Cola. I'm like, bitch, I can see your fucking tits, pretty much.
Yeah, but here the joke. How you do an advertisement for Coca-Cola in a bikini? I'm not looking at the Coca-Cola, I'm looking at you.
All right, David, hang on a second. Let's get this guy. This is my boy in here. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president.
As I was saying, what sense does it make with a woman in bikini talking on to sell Coca-Cola? Ain't no man in the right mind talk about I'm gonna buy that Coca-Cola with a woman in bikini. They're like, who that lady? Where she live at?
All right,
Ta-da.
Mr. President, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm still working. So if you see my eyes going to one screen or another, I'm kind of trying to get some work done here as well. But I've been following the whole show. I just hadn't had a chance to.
I
No,
know.
you good, you good, brother. I know you were. Hey, come on. Me and you are like the Satellite system. We all three of us actually. We work our asses off.
You can bring the history. I know
get
you.
it.
I know you're gonna bring the history right
Yeah,
now.
David, I'm grossly disappointed in your takes tonight. Given
What?
that you are an African man, you are parroting basically puritanical European puritanical views here. Africa is like the home of sex and sexuality.
Okay, hold on.
All of the
We-
phallic
we-
all of the phallic African art and symbols that was throughout the continent for millennia. And then some European missionaries come to Africa, and then all of a sudden you guys become these puritanical people. I don't understand.
Hold on. For black man is fair. No, we didn't traditionally sell sex, man. Don't
No.
go there.
I'm saying go back in history. You know about African art and all the
Yes,
phallic
I know.
symbols that are in African art.
Yes.
Sexuality in Africa has always been there until again you had
Yeah, but it
missionaries
was
came
but it
and
was done
Christianized,
differently.
or the Muslims came and those
Yes.
religions change the countries, the
Okay,
continent. So
it was done differently in the sense of purity, whereby first and foremost, one, you should be met with a no one who would not your woman. If you met with anyone, that put to be your wife right there and there. Two, you don't mess with another man's daughter, because if you do that, you gotta pay some dowry. We had a thing called a dowry system back
The hell
then.
is Dowie?
Yo, the
dowry
time, yo,
is
the
money
time,
you pay
the
the
price.
bride's family for the
Oh, okay, okay,
for the
okay,
bride.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember BMU and few other things we want to talk about. I say, trust me, you can't bring dowries into the United States because 95% will not even going to qualify for it. So just write it off like that. It's not happening. Africa was created with dowry, even though it's not just my country. Many other countries have a dowry. So either you're paying in cows, you're paying in gold, you're paying in land, you're paying in agriculture, because it have a value. So for somebody who raised a well brought up daughter, how many goats are you gonna give me? You gonna give me 15 goats? You gonna give me 10 cows? I remember what's her name again? Who kind of dumped her ex husband. Used to have a song called Black and Yellow, and some Nigerian will make it a parody, and they'll referring to animals like that in the kind of way. But the thing is, when you're touching somebody else's daughter, you paying a price for it. Say, this how much I'm gonna pay to marry your daughter. I'm gonna give you 10 cows, 10 goats, a few acre of land.
And
Some
how old were these daughters?
at the time in some country, maybe at least 16 or 17.
Try
Because
younger. Try younger.
you're referring to 14, some
Try
was
young. Try younger. But
12.
in the Western world, especially in the United States, for someone to do that, we want to call that immoral.
But here's the thing, those of Islamic nation were pushing that young age.
It's not
But
necessarily Islamic. It was African. I mean, most of these countries here, as soon as you hit puberty, you were essentially a woman in the eyes of the culture and the
yeah,
society.
but
He's
I'm
right.
glad you I'm glad you mentioned human purity, but the thing is their purity standard based on shape. We didn't have all these chemical induced food in Africa by that time. And if you was looking at 16, you were looking 16 compared to the one we have here.
If she
Six,
could bear children, she was eligible. They talk about Mary, the mother of Jesus, might have been 14 years old at the time. So again, we want to put all of these kind of standards on sex and sexuality in these societies and whatnot. And I don't think there's necessarily a correlation with the societies being any more or less sexual than anywhere else. I don't get the corollaries that are being drawn here tonight. You have societies that are hypersexual in a lot of ways, and you don't
Agree.
see a rising incidences in terms of grapes, in terms of those things. We talk about Greece. There's nudity on live television, primetime television. We know in Germany, in Japan, we talked about the anime and the sexualized anime that's
mm,
always been out there. When Eric showed me anime for the first time, my jaw dropped. I think he called what it was, like Appleseed or something like that, and it was also bestiality, because you basically had these furry creatures looking like Chewbacca sleeping with humanoid women. So I'm like, what is this? So 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 I'm saying so all that stuff is there. And again, Japan doesn't seem to have, if anything, they have a children's problem because people aren't having kids. I don't think everybody's just going out because, going out of their minds because the place is over sexualized. I think, I think these things that we're drawing,
and I
again, it's
and
it's
I mentioned
coming
and I
it's
mentioned that,
coming
hold
from
on. The point I mentioned they had some weird policy back then. Remember China? I was in high school back in what year? For the late 80s, talk about one child, two child policy, because and when you control your society that much for so long and you pass it down to the next generation, who you think will want to stop having kids? Let's think about that.
no, but
Let's
I'm saying that's just China. I'm talking about Japan. The East in general, Japan is having an aging problem because no one's getting married and having kids. And again, that's again a highly sexualized country. In Europe, highly sexualized countries. No one's everyone's having a population problem because people are having a fewer children. So I don't think it's necessarily a sex problem. As far as now, when you pose the question, there's two ways I can take the question. You're talking about the sex cell. If you talk about direct sex in terms of sexual images and pornography, then that's a no-brainer. Obviously, men, and mostly men, are going to be attracted to that. mostly, at least in the visual forms. Women are attracted to the novelization and the written forms of it. 97% of women follow corn through reading and audio stuff. So we already know that's there. As far as sex and mainstream advertising, yeah, I think for the same reason. And I don't think it sells, but I think it attracts people to at least look at what you have to offer. I think all it is bait, but you still have to sell the product that you're doing. I remember going into the times when I'm going into car dealerships, especially the luxury dealerships. The women that were in those that the receptionist desk were like, I
Hot.
can't believe this is available in not only hot, but what they were wearing.
It was
And then
meant
this
for
is the
men
the Lexus dealership, the high-end dealerships or whatnot. They put the hottest women in there
on
because
purpose.
again, they wanted to get on purpose because again, they wanted to get the attention of the buyers that were coming in. Now you
W-
still had to sell the car,
We were mostly
but you
old
would
ass men.
but I'm sure those guys would come back for a second look. It's like, let me think about it, as an excuse for them to come back and they can look at
Yes,
that receptionist again.
No,
So
old
I'll
it's
give
ass
you a
all
good
men.
example, Paul. When when I what was it? It was not my current car, but my last. It was a Hyundai, the same model of you had, Tucson, right?
Mhm.
And I was getting service. I was talking to the sales rep. We're just bullshitting because he told me, "Hey, P, what's going on?" Blah blah blah, whatever. And I see this girl walk by. I'm like, my head literally twisted. And he goes,
Yeah.
"You're good." And like,
Old ass men.
this is she a salesman or a car reputation? Like, I'll buy a new car right fucking now, dude. I don't give a shit. He
Cause you're old
goes,
ass. Cause you're old ass man. That's why.
she's actually only 2 years younger than me, dickhead. Nice try, asshole.
I'm just
And
saying that's what you mean. They have pretty ladies in the car dealership to attract old ass men to buy
So it's
cars.
it's
wait.
always been there.
You haven't hit the
How many
punchline
car
yet.
magazines, Hot Rod magazine from the
Oh
70s, from the
God.
60s, from the
Yeah.
70s? What does a hot looking girl sitting on the top of the car have anything to do with the car? If you're a car guy, what
Hmm.
does having that woman on sitting on the car hood have anything to do with the car?
Eye candy. That's all.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, we're gonna be adults here or not in terms of
You
what
get
it's
it.
what it's used for. It's been around. It's not an 80s thing. It's not. In fact, the 80s, from what I recall, the 80s they did as much as possible to scare you away from sex, scare
That's
the
true.
life out of you.
That is
Because
true.
all those commercials on VD, there was a local ad. You remember this,
I
David,
remember.
because
I
you grew up
remember
in
this.
this area. It's the number one fact of life. VD gets around. It was a major
Yes,
campaign in the area in the 80s. The AIDS commercials, VD, they tried to scare everybody, and
I
especially
remember.
when the AIDS epidemic dropped, that's all was there.
It was
So
in a.
you're
In a
not gonna scare people
classroom.
away from it.
It was on the billboard. You have
It was
class about
everywhere.
that.
It was like
But
you could die. You could like literally die from this. How many celebrities were dying from it
a
and
lot.
everything. And
A lot.
so that didn't do anything so the anti-sex campaigns of the day didn't work. Again, we're human beings that are made to be sexual.
Then yeah.
So
No,
again,
it was bad about it.
and
Don't.
I'm the guy. I want to certainly one. I think sex is a natural function. Now, again, I think there are parameters where it is done best, i.e., marriage. So I will always promote that. But I don't want to put a stigma on sex as if it's the boogeyman that we need to be afraid of. Again, just like prohibition, they tried to scare people out of drink. It didn't work either. And so again, but as far as look, can it
AKA
go too far?
moonshine.
Absolutely. I remember again, David. Let's go back in time. Yeah, I think you might be old enough to remember this.
Uh-oh.
I remember the first time where I thought this is going too far. Back in the day, they had a jean brand called Jordache jeans.
Oh
You got
God.
the look. I want to know better.
Oh
You got the
God.
look. That's all together. Now that was started out as
Yes, it was.
an adult ad, and then a couple years later, they actually brought kids in to sing the exact same song in the classroom. These kids wearing these Jordache jeans, doing a lot of the same moves. That was the first time I said, okay, this is going too far.
I don't
I
know
get
how
the
they.
adult
I know
spaces
how
and
they call. I don't know how they
I
pull that
remember
one
the
off.
adult spaces, but I mean, like kids, no, don't bring that kind of advertising to kids. Kids don't need that. But that was in the late 70s, early 80s when that came out.
You're right.
And since then, I can honestly say I haven't seen a lot of that type of advertising since. I
Yeah.
don't see a lot of ads that, in terms of kids, as far as directed towards kids, outside of what I talked about earlier, comic books or any kind of superhero, any kind of thing in that arena. All the women have big boobs and hips and curves. When was the last time you saw a female superhero, supervillain that wasn't curvaceous that way? You haven't. Barbie dolls have been out for 70 years. And at the time, they said the proportions on a Barbie doll was such, if that was a real woman, her chest size would be like 50 triple F or something like that. Some crazy statistic because the way the model was drawn. But see, here's the thing. Now we're complaining again. You had GI Joe action figures, and you had Barbie dolls,
But hold
and you
on.
had Ken dolls.
But Mr. Bennett, G.I. Joe action figure wasn't sexualized.
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is what you did have. You want to say it wasn't sexual? To a degree, I would disagree to extent that it had very defined roles of what a man was and what a woman was.
Okay.
So when you bought that
Here's the
doll
trick here.
or whatever, now people what do people complain today about? About the crossing of roles and genders and things, and you don't know what is what anymore. But growing up in the 70s and 80s, you knew what a woman was or what a woman's ideal body, at least the way they were drawing it, what that was the ideal was, and you knew what a man was, and there was no differentiation between, there was very little ambiguity. Now people complain that there's too much ambiguity. So again, so what do you want?
That's
I would
it.
I would rather go back to the 70s or the 80s or whatnot when they had these things that were clearly delineated. This is a man, this is a woman, and
Mhm.
yes, there's going to be sex involved. In fact, it should be something you should look forward to under the right circumstances. But I'm not going to play this Puritan game, which is an American ideal, because Europe has always been above the curve when it came to sexuality. Africa before colonization was ahead of the curve. And Brazil, you talked about the smaller bikinis. Look, well, the smaller bikinis were already in Brazil.
At least we were pushing marriage more than all this matters you have right here.
Well, I don't know, marriage to multiple women. I don't know. I don't. Back in the day, I don't know what the thing was. Polygamy and all those kind of different practices and whatnot. So I don't know what
Technically,
kind of reference you're
polygamy is
saying.
mostly used for people to have plenty of kids to work on their farm. You have a huge farm. You don't feel like hiring people from
Oh,
outside your
yeah, and there
family.
was an economic, and that's another thing. There was an economic model that certainly mandated that. Now we live under a different model
Mhm.
of economics that does not support having multiple children because of the cost involved. Before, children was a income multiplier.
Mhm.
Now it's an income divider, and
But it's
so under
but
those
oh,
conditions,
but
it's not.
now it's a needed income multiplier for a place like China and Japan because
Well,
then they
then,
have
yeah,
less
then you know
kids.
what? Then let them pay. Then let them pay for it. Then, and I think the same thing in this country. Also, I'm a big proponent of any kind of tax incentives, tax credits for having kids, having families, or whatnot. Make it easier for people to have kids in the country. And I am speaking as the president. My proposal would be we have tax incentives and tax credits for married people. Every child that you get $5,000 for every child that you have. But that's per year. That's a tax credit per year. I mean, if you want to spur things on, I would do things like that in order to stimulate people's ability and willingness to have
Also
children.
work on the healthcare field because the healthcare field don't take care of these people's kids.
Healthcare also, yeah, we got to make the nation such where again you want to have families. But as far as the sexualization, honestly, I'm not worried about it. I think there's a lot more things now, just especially with social media and whatnot. Yeah, there's a lot of sexual stuff out there, absolutely. But
Mhm.
as far as the kids, honestly, I just don't see it. Because a lot of the first of all, a lot of the mainstream stuff isn't on the mainstream anymore. I mean, again, we grew up in an area where there was cartoons on mainstream in the afternoons. Now everything's on Nickelodeon or on Disney Channel or whatnot. The only time I see toy ads or on like Disney Channel or whatnot, and the reason why is because I put that on for my dog before I leave the house every morning.
And the
So
reason
so so I'm not seeing this sexualized, people trying to sell sex to kids. I'm just not seeing that, at least not to the extent it was back in the day with the
now
examples. I
here's the
mean,
thing, I got young kids, 15, and soon to be 13. And listening to their conversation for the past 2 years, I've been trying to figure out where to get all the secular terminology from because
It's always
some,
been there, David.
I know,
David. I mean, Eric made the inference earlier. Playboy magazine. You know, your uncle had it under the in the shed, in the car, or whatever. And then that was the tame one. Now, if he really wanted to go off, he had Hustler, or he had We,
yeah,
or one, or
God damn, I
one of
feel
those
like Forrest
magazines.
Gump right now.
I took it from him.
Hustler was the
I
hardcore
took
one.
that from him. Hustler from Ghost of Sparta. He had it under the closet.
I'm just saying. So it's always been there. And again, these people want to again glamorize that. Oh, we were so pure back then. No, we weren't. And in fact, if the medium of technology and internet was there, we would have been all over it. So again, you're not going to change human nature when it comes to sex being a big deal. And if people want to use it in advertising and whatnot, again, I see it in certain segments, but again, I haven't seen anything in the last probably 10, 15 years that I can honestly say, okay, they're trying to sell sex to children or they're trying to over sexualize our children. I just haven't,
It
I
have
just haven't.
moved. It have moved from the mainstream media and then gone to other places like if it's not on podcast or stuff you have on streaming platform. That's what's been going on because there were a lot of people are watching TV. Some people are cutting off their TV or their cable.
Yeah,
So
they're going to another medium to get their information. So
and that's why you
it's
see
not
more on
necessarily in the
you see
quote
that more
unquote
on social
mainstream.
media. You see that on social media. You see that
For real.
Also,
Absolutely.
the streaming services gives it more free accessible to get to the kids too.
bingo.
Oh yeah, they're long gone are the days with the cable box with the scrambler code. You don't have that. So I mean, so again, so what do
He's
we?
he's snitching on us now. He's snitching
So
on
so so
all
what
the
do
he's
so what do
snitching on
we
all
what do
the
we
80
what do we
babies
do?
and 70 baby who we go
Hey,
behind.
shout out to Gen X, man. But I'm just saying this.
So, Paul, let me ask you a question
Yeah,
really fast.
go for it.
I want to ask two questions. One, did you see the video before I move on?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, my question is going to follow up. What is sexual or sex a powerful tool for advertisements and impacted so much?
Well, again, it's just bait. If I'm a man, if I see an attractive woman, I want to see at least what's behind it. Now, again, that doesn't sell the product unless that is the product. So, in other words, if the body is the product, whether it be a swimsuit magazine, Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, or something more, or pornographic or whatever, if that's the product, then that you're gonna draw viewers to that. As far as selling your product, you're still gonna have to sell it. Even if I go into the dealership and yes, the receptionist is banging, you're still going to have to sell me the value of why am I going to spend in these 60, 70, 80, 100, $150,000 on a car. It just gets you into the showroom or get you into the place. And like I said, it works for us. Now, interestingly, for women, I don't think it works as much. I don't think if you have like a muscular car dealership, I don't think you're just going to get a flock of women just flying in there. Oh, I gotta see that. You gotta see that car dealer. Oh my gosh, he's so buff.
Put Ghost of Spot on the display.
So I don't think that's gonna work. So again, as men, we're visual, we're sexual. We like seeing the female anatomy or signs or innuendos that imply sex. I mean, that's just who we are. So to me, it's a very natural thing. And so again, I don't fight it. I don't go against it. My thing is at the end of the day, if you want my money, you're still going to have to sell the product. And all that is just like any advertiser. Advertising is like a win. I don't know what the numbers are when it comes to advertising, but for every ad dollar that you pay, like a Super Bowl commercial, for example, you spend now, I think the cost is like $3 million, $5 million for a Super Bowl ad or whatever. If you divide that, like how many of those ads result in the sale of a product, it's still fairly minuscule. When a company decides they want to name a stadium or something, so like AT&T Stadium or whatever, yes, they're going to pay to the team or whatever, like a 10-year deal for like $100 million or whatever. How much of that money is actually going to translate into an actual sale? It's still relatively low.
Mm-hmm.
So again, same thing with sex. You may get some attention, But if I just come in and look at the lady and then leave, I didn't buy anything, and you didn't sell me anything. So it's got to be it's negligible in terms of what the actual result would be. That's why I'm always asking why these companies spend so much money on these ads and advertisements and whatnot. I mean, to even cut those car commercials or whatnot. I mean, yeah, I mean you're paying
You know what I think
professional
is
actors and
funny?
stuff.
Before we play the next video, you know what I think is hilarious at the Super Bowl commercials? They're usually on YouTube a week before they come out at Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah.
So why you're spending like $4 to $6 to $8 million or whatever you're paying for a 30-second video when he's already
Even the most memorable ones. Like to me, the greatest Super Bowl ad of all time is Mean Joe Green in the Coca-Cola commercial. To me, that's still number one tops of all time.
I prefer the Budweiser lizard.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just giving my personal. But it didn't make me drink any more Coke than I already did. I didn't go tell my friends, "Oh, you got to buy Coke." It was a great ad, but it did not translate, in my view. I don't think it translated to more dollars. It just made it more memorable.
Then you're correct.
Budweiser is a good one because they always had those horses and the
Yeah,
cherry.
the Clydesdale horses and stuff. Yeah, or the Budweiser lizards. I used to love those guys.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
saying,
remember that one.
Budweiser lizard is iconic because the one particular lizard will get him beat up by two other lizards. Every time Budweiser, they keep smacking with each other.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
the guys.
the Geico commercial, easy as a caveman.
Oh Lord, that was
Oh
low.
yeah,
Geico,
That was a low blow commercial. I'm sorry to say it. It was a
Yeah.
low blow, and I'm feeling sorry because after a while, they made the caveman feel kind of like, "What are you trying to say?"
They actually did
we
a
stupid?
spinoff. Actually, the commercial may become a spinoff to a show
Yeah,
that
it
lasted
didn't,
one
it, didn't
season.
go, it didn't go very far.
It didn't go very far, but the thing is, the skit was very funny because they came up feeling kind of disrespectful. They were feeling like, "Wait, are you trying to say that we stupid?" Yeah, duh.
All right, let's play the next video, guys.
The Marlborough Man epitomized rugged masculinity, appealing to both women and men. Pin-up girls, used during 1-2, made their way into mainstream advertising post-war. Brands like Coca-Cola featured attractive women in provocative poses to sell products. Celebrity endorsements added allure, enhancing the sexual undertones of advertisements. This era solidified sex appeal as a powerful tool in advertising. The Marlborough
What that concert they had when everybody's not muddy? What would you call it?
Woodstock.
Woodstock. That was the biggest promotion of sex. Hello. Everybody hired tent, and Woodstock lasted for how many days? So to all the guys who went to Woodstock,
It wasn't a promotion of sex. I mean, first of all, it's a local event that drew in the Northeast in the New York area. So the people who were there it wasn't drawn like everybody from across the country and whatnot, and they were already into it anyway. They were
They were
again,
the hippie area was more about
yeah. I mean, that stuff was going on. Yeah.
peace.
Yeah, that stuff was going on. That was just like an event where all those people who were doing that stuff came together. You didn't have a bunch of virgins going to Woodstock saying, "Oh, this is my time to kind of let go." No, they were already on game. They were on game. So I mean, we gotta stop this, guys. I mean, it's really,
I know.
we gotta look at
because lately you get in documentary of what went down in Woodstock, what went down in Spring Break, and all that. Everybody's snitching on everybody right now.
Bro, I don't know if you guys remember this DVD or video was coming out. Girls Going Wild.
in the 90s. Yeah.
Who do not remember that? And how many girls?
So you had Girls Going Wild. You had Freak Nick.
Oh Lord.
I don't remember Freak Nick.
Freak Nick, that was a black thing. That was basically you had all this lewd, lascivious sex and all this, basically like Woodstock, but 10 times that.
Let me make a correction. Girl Goes Wild was level 1, level 2. Freak Nick was level 3, going straight to level 9.
Yeah.
That was the level of it, because the guy who makes so much money on Girl Gone Wild, after that, what other bitch did he make after that? And
it's interesting. I'm wondering when did that come out? I need to look that up. When did Girls Gone Wild come out?
I can look it up for you. Give me a second.
because
Because
I'm wondering if Vince was maybe inspired by that. If that's what
You're
inspired
an asshole.
oh no,
his
don't.
attitude era. No, I'm
Oh
serious.
Lord.
That was a hot thing for a minute, and I wonder if Vince maybe look at those ads and whatnot. I'm just like, maybe I need to incorporate some of that into you
Is
know,
that what the case?
I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know when it came out because the attitude era, like when it came in earnest, that was like what 95, 96.
Mhm.
So I don't know when I thought Girls Gone Wild came out a little bit earlier, but I could be wrong.
What year, Ghost? Come on.
Hang on, I'm looking up shit.
Look it up fast.
So I mean, so you never know. I mean, it's but yeah, that's up. Even when they weren't attitude. I mean, Lita, you were talking about Lita earlier. With the thong,
1999.
See, Vince
what
Man
Girls
started
Gone
it.
Wild,
Vince Man
Yes.
started the era, and Girls
August
Gone was right
31st,
after.
1999.
1999. All right, so it came out. It came out after. But I mean, Lita, she had the thong. You barely see her thong as she was, even though she wasn't trying to quote unquote be sexual like
Hmm.
Sable and the other women or whatever. But she had her way of
Yeah.
doing it by
Hmm.
always having her thong hanging out of her pants all
But
the
you were,
time.
but you were mostly fully clothed compared to the rest of them. Those was more
But
like,
still, it was enough. It was Inuit. It was enough to keep you looking at her. Now,
yeah,
if she wanted to go like the other girls and do bikini contests and stuff, I think she would have did very well at that because I thought she was, fairly well put together. But she had a kind of a
Oh, she is. I
grunge.
met her in person.
She had like a grunge type of sexuality to her. It wasn't like flashing you. It wasn't like flashing my boobs at you or whatever. But she had her way of doing it in a way because her main thing was as an athlete. She was definitely much more athletic than any
she
of the
was.
girls of that.
She was.
I'll give you
She was.
this.
She would have did well today, I think.
But the problem
If
is,
Lita came out today,
well,
she would do very well.
here's the thing. Lita came in as a luchador. The guy that she came with was a luchador. So for some reason, that wrestler was not doing to her, so they took her away from him and added to the Hardy. Look at back of Lita's first debut in WWF, now known as WWE. She was working with a particular luchador. I don't forget my wrestlers for a reason. So yeah, I'm an African who love WWE, but I pay attention to the detail of things. So when she was that very athletic, luchador are far more athletic than regular wrestlers. The fact that they weren't going to her at the pair, they removed her from that particular wrestler and paired her with the Hardy Boys. You can look that up. I don't
I'm not,
forget.
I'm not disagreeing one bit with what you're saying with that. But one thing I was going to say with um WWE wrestlers, even Lita wasn't as sexualized as you say.
She
I
wasn't.
think she was, but hang in there, hang on out. They did photo shoots.
Hmm.
Trish Stratus is a good one. She's arching her back and her thong is strap her ass. You see the ass cheek split and everything. Don't get
She
me wrong.
she
I
even
think
stripped
Trish
in
is the
the
most beautiful woman in WWE.
she even stripped in the ring when that time she was getting punished by Vince. But and all the young boy was like, I was like, oh Lord, too bad for America. We got destroyed by WWE.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking shit about Trish Stratus or Lita. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
both
not
of them
saying
are
you are.
beautiful women.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying
I was let's clear the air. Hang on, David. I met both of them in person. Wonderful women, sweethearts. When you meet them in person, they are loving having fans over. They love to sign autographs, taking pictures to you, and everything. Lita's kind of bossy, to be honest with you guys. Like she literally, I had a little plastic thing I used for my autographs, and she's ripped that thing out of my hand. Get that shit out of my picture. So I'm like, damn, you're bossy. Like my agent goes, she's shaking her head behind her. She's like, what do you mean I'm bossy? I'm like, kind of are. But joking aside, I'm like, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
sh- how you want to say, know how you want to bend the rules. Lady will figure out a way to bend the rules so you won't have to confine whatever else we're doing. Cause as long that was more like a thing. As long as it's showing I'm free to go, right? Okay, yeah. So she let that happen because she's more of an athletic person than just trying to sell skin to put it. And that was a dilemma because let's be real, that era was getting pushed out because one, the real wrestlers didn't want to look like that. They're telling we have the skills, we can compete with the men in wrestling. We don't have to strip. So remember, there was the chain of the god, the four horsemen. What were the fourth women? It was Charlotte Flair, It was Becky Lynch. You know who I'm going to refer to. Bailey, and the fourth one who's now in AEW.
Who's in AEW? Now, help me out.
Mercedes Monet. What's her former name?
Oh, damn it. I know who you're talking about.
Because the thing
Snoop
is,
Dogg's cousin.
yeah, the thing is, they were pushing a new era whereby they were saying we don't have to sexualize ourselves just so we get airtime on it. We can do the thing and much more because it was more saying you're not much the AI candy. You can't do much of anything.
Mhm.
That was the issue. That was a dilemma because I was even saying, yeah, the Bella Twin don't have no wrestling skill. They suck to me massive time. They're not wrestlers. You know, they try to be wrestlers. They're not on that level because let them go to the Ring of Honor wrestling school. Do you would have made it through? Hell no.
You didn't think some of these legends would make it through back then?
Ring of Honor was different from WWE. They wasn't pushing icon. You gotta have wrestling skills. Vince McMahon was looking for a
Lita had
puppy.
some skills, bro. Lita
No,
had
Yeah,
some
Lita could
no,
go today. I
Lita
think
was
she would have. Yeah.
different. Lita was different. She was a luchador. Remember I said she was a luchador. Lita has skills.
even
She
Trish
been
Stratus. She has skills.
she was a fitness
Model,
model
yes.
who can transition into having skills.
Mhm.
The problem with Vince McMahon was pushing sexualization a bit too much.
Yeah. But I would. There's certainly an evolution of the women. I mean, like I go back to Fabulous Moolah, Wendy Richter, and all those women. They couldn't hang today. Even the only one I would have pulled out was maybe Sherry Martel.
Mm,
She might have did, and then also Medusa Maselli. She could have. I
mm.
think she could have did some things, but very few who could bang. Because Medusa, I think she did Japan for some time. She has some skills there to do some
And that's
stuff.
the
But
thing. A lot of
Sherry was just a good sell. She could sell her butt off. Sherry Martel. I mean, that was her big thing. She
But
could.
think about it. Throughout the mainstream media, everybody was using sex to sell to climb up, sex to sell to get promotion, sex to sell to land deal, but don't have real skills. That's what they mean to an end. I don't have no skill, but let me sell sex, so at least I get somewhere. I can make money. That's what the thing that I had the issue with sex though is just kind of like a cap out. The person who used this cap out the most on a huge margin is still a 0.5 in my eye, the Kardashian. I still say to this day, they ain't got no real talent, but somehow they maximize why does sex sell to the extreme, and they made a lot of money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That got me much. No, I'm be honest, with you, that got me weird. I'm like, how can these no talented, good for nothing airhead bimbos make this huge amount of money on the airwave, but yet there are more talented people than them? All because, like you said, sex sells. All I do is, quote unquote, accidentally leak my sex tape that I did with Ray J, and I make a lot of money and pretend I didn't know nothing about it. People have
Look at what's her face? From Nick Six or something like that. It was the woman from Baywatch. Her sex tape got leaked out.
You mean forgot
Oh,
her.
Pamela Anderson.
Yeah,
Yes,
Pamela
thank you.
Anderson. I doubt it would be got leaked out by accident or done on purpose. Because here's the thing: this leaked sex tape business at the time it became a moneymaker for some of these celebrities, quality on purpose. Because technically speaking, Ray J exposed it. They did sign a contract, but Ray J did not know they were making a deal with some of these adult entertainment to have these so-called leak tape go out so they can make money off it. Some of the reality TV show who not actors who was not making the money, they decided to go onto that particular path to make a quick flashy buck, hoping it will last for a while. And when all the thing wasn't doing too much after a while, what thing came next? OF. Or what a replacement for all the adult industry. They to make deal for people so they can make the money. So I don't have to make a deal. I do own my own channel and flash whatever I want to flash to a certain degree. I'm a celebrity, so you know who I am. So you will flock to my channel and pay whatever rate I accept there. Voila.
Give you a better example, David and Paul. OF. OF blew up.
Too much.
Don't get me started. How much? You have a retired wrestler. I can't remember her name. She has an OnlyFans. She's making more money now on OnlyFans than she used to make in 1 year in WWE.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy. But here's the stigma about OF. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see this show, if you hear me saying this is actual factual. OF disqualify a lot of females from finding good men right off the bat. Because no good man want to be associated with any woman who have an OF channel. Or it could be found.
You know, it's funny you
Well,
said
if they're
that.
doing that content, I mean, you have people who do absolutely nothing sexual on OF, and
I know, but here's the thing. You had to have proof that you're not doing nothing crazy. But a huge majority of people on OF are doing, you know
Oh,
what?
well, sure.
I'll give you a great example. There is this couple that does funny skits on. I don't know if they have a YouTube channel, but I know they have a Facebook group. The funny skits, and all of a sudden one day I've been following them for a while. I bumped into them a couple times in my town. They're locals
Mhm.
around here, right? I saw them at some graduation parties. I've been there. Never spoke to them. I know who they are. They don't have no idea they know me. I don't give a shit, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
And one day I'm seeing, this is when they opened the restaurant down the street from my house that failed miserably.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden I see she's talking about OnlyFans. Visit my OnlyFans. I thought they were joking around at first. Out of curiosity, like, you know what? I'm going to check this out. And they really do have an OnlyFans.
And you did.
Oh, fuck yeah, I checked that out. I didn't
I
pay for
know.
anything. You can log in and see if they have is it only thing or not, but you don't have to pay for it. And now I think it's hilarious. You literally have your wife, you're banging her on the internet for other people to watch. Explains how she got her Rolls Royce.
Mm. You forget about the basketball player who got embarrassed, that he didn't know that his wife got an oil channel for so long, even though he had some money issues.
I didn't hear about that.
Oh, you hear it on the black YouTube space. A lot of the commentator who commented on sport talk about how this guy made a poor choice, which it has been a known thing among basketball players in today's time. For the past decade, a lot of dumbass basketball players have been chasing after the wrong kind of women that lead to multiple scandals as of recently.
Mhm.
Like, for example, the dude who played against the Golden State Warrior, Ant, his baby mama was trying to play him for a fool. So, know what he did? He the first of a kind to pay the full charge for all up front. So he don't have to hear from her ever again. I'm surprised that even allowed, mind you. Because remember, we did here talk about how you gotta pay your child support monthly. The guy paid complete amount, all up front. Meaning, here's your money. Don't call me. Don't talk to me. Don't say nothing. I don't want to see your ass again. All one chunk. And I wonder if that is so legal to do, which is crazy. But the thing is, a lot of these dumb athletes are chasing the wrong kind of women who are more than likely going to tarnish their career along the way.
Mhm.
All because sex sells. But sex don't produce you a proper wife. Let's keep that real. Ask all the dumb rappers who did that right now and they're regretting their moves because of the amount of money they lost, so to speak. So yeah, sex sells for a short time thing, for a short time firm, but not for long lasting endowment. Let's be honest. So when I see a lot of basketball players chasing at the eye candy, the OF model, whatever you want to call them, I'm laughing, I'm enjoying it because I'm waiting for the scandal to pop up. It end up never fail because a lot of these basketball players are dumb as hell, except of Tim Duncan, smart man, smart brother. All the rest keep checking out of eye candy. I don't feel sorry for them. Whatever scandal you go through, you deserve it 1,000%. You should know it already before you sign that deal. Oh, I'm gonna make her my baby mom. You gotta be dumb and stupid as hell. Really? Like, come on. Yeah, sex sell. But what make you think that make a quality woman? Same to you, Shadmore, aka Bow Wow, more like Dumb Wow. You got two baby mama, two eye candies. Really? I'm just saying. Yes, sex sell, but other produce quality women. I'm not knocking your hustle. That is fine. But don't expect me to expect you the same standard or someone who's not doing what you're doing. That don't count.
And David has a great good point. Women wonders, oh, I can't get a man. Oh, I can't get married or anything like that. But you're on OnlyFans and you're doing all this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get anybody serious.
So I'll be the poster child. Yes. You're a sexy ass woman, you hot as hell, you are eye candy, you're the love of the town, many men are flocking to you, many men want to spend the money on you. Yes, good for you. And you complain you cannot get a man. Question, what kind of man are you looking for? That have been let it be well. I need to get a teacher. What group of men are you referring to, or what kind of men are you looking for? Because let's be real, all men are not the same. We are made in different form of fashion. Some men are tall, some men are short, some men are stumpy, some men are
Come on,
broad and
Gooch.
big, some men are like built like a gorilla, like me, and I'm not a goat. But still, you say you want a man, but what kind of man are you looking for? Are you looking for a perv, a slacker, the ultimate simp? They're all men, but they're not the same kind of man. So
Mhm.
that is my thing because the reason I didn't like the topic because this is something that have gone so far in today's society to the point whereby it kind of like messed with the conversation about people complaining they can't find a good woman. And my thing is about the sexualization of women have gone too far to the point whereby we're not asking the right question.
But what is it? But what do you mean by that? Just a statement: the sexualization of women.
Meaning
When
how the
women have always been sexual. So
I know women have been sexual throughout the age of time, which is it
since the
have been
beginning of time, not
since
since
the
the
beginning.
okay.
Okay,
So,
but my thing is this: today's society, people are making cop out excuse about no, I get it. Sexualization not gonna go nowhere no time soon. Along we are men and we are women, meaning there's a
but what
new
is that? But what does that mean? Sexualization. What do you mean?
the term of sexualization talk about how you promote or gravitate or how you put out certain meaning skimpy clothes, meaning okay, send the link. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm on the other side, not on the developer side. I might have to put on my PC to do all that thing right now. So give me a moment, let the PC log pop up quickly. When I mean by sexualization, I'm talking about the gratification when you go down to the extreme to a point whereby they don't have to hide their good. Their good is all out in the open. You have women wearing leggings that's showing their camel toe and then some, whereby God forbid you look at it. Oh, sexual act? No, but you're wearing something that's promoting the
But
whole
I mean,
thing.
unless she's wearing a full burqa with the eye slits, I mean, what are we saying? I mean, go back over history. I mean, women's fashion or whatnot. It used to be if her ankle was showing, that was like a social moray. Then if the knees were showing, then
I know, I
that was a
know.
moray. So I mean, so
I studied,
what are we
I
doing?
studied, no, I studied the history being no time, and I used to laugh because showing the ankle wasn't too over sexual. I
And
get
then
that.
you have countries that used to be nude. I mean, in ancient Africa, it was no thing for an African woman to show her bare her breasts in open in public.
But the thing is, ancient
Again,
Africa, no,
before puritanical, before missionaries came, again, Africa, and even now you have societies where, again, a woman's body nudity is not looked at in the way that we do it. So
ancient,
so so again, a lot of this stuff is taught. It's not natural.
ancient Africa was a little bit different based on certain tribes. Some tribes,
I'm
you
not
look
saying
at,
ancient. Look at there's African societies today. There's tribes. There's they're not necessarily in the mainstream, but again, there's places around the world, especially if you go to Ocean Asia. I mean, go to like the Polynesian areas, the Australian regions and whatnot. There's peoples where again, body image is not frowned upon. It's just not. You go to Brazil, everybody wears a thong in Brazil. Everybody. I mean, if you watch any of those Brazil videos or whatnot, the grandma has one on. So it's not anything new.
Let me play that.
He does have a good point there.
I play that the Yoruba tribe cultural design of their clothing, their fabric, and their fashion. I looked at it and I go looking further. I wasn't able to get hold of Ekene because he's like a historian, but what I did notice,
Economic is just as westernized. I know he likes to say a lot of stuff, but what comes out of his mouth, I think he is just as
Western,
influenced
Shit.
I
by
know.
the colonial culture than anybody else. So I don't.
I,
If you want
I
to talk about
talk
ancient,
shit.
then you got to deal with the stuff that's there.
and
Like I said,
okay, but
Africa,
what I noticed is
sex, sexuality, sexual gods, all that stuff was very much a part of the culture, just as it was in Greek culture, just as it was as in Roman culture and all these other ancient cultures around.
I'll put like
So,
this: textilization of their fabric and fashion, whereby these men were wearing some kind of over outfit. They had the top and had the pant. Women were wearing almost like I can't call it blouse. What didn't know blouse? There's like something like a wrap. They were most of the women were either wearing wrap most of the time, wearing necklace or have something similar who they belong to. Some even had the overall outfit. That was normally the fashion of the Yoruba tribe. Some tribe were
at
different
what point you talking about pre-colonial?
before colonization,
I don't
before
believe that. I don't believe it.
because here's the thing: a lot of people there's a lot of things people don't believe, but every tribe was different from another tribe based on what their textilization was all about. And even though people have been talking about, there have been misconception of what Africa was before colonization came into place. So that have been a an ongoing debate. Remember, there was only 5 kingdoms before they have 50 countries. These tribes were migrated around Africa long before the European came in there. Some tribes were different from other tribes based on their idea of clothes and fashion and taxation. Some were full outfits, some would have their wrap, some have different look. If you look at culture traditional outfit, the traditional outfit meant showcase what the look supposed to be at a certain time. Other African tribes are different from others. South African tribe, that was they were more skimpier than the African up in the east. Let be frank about it.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, I would have to say I'm not gonna listen to no European historian who have not been in Africa longer before the colonization came into play because when you want to spin the narrative, we start to find out there's a lot of loopholes in their history making and start to catch on a lot of other things that be going on because let's be real. Africa wasn't the original name they had for that continent. It was another name before that.
Correct.
What was the original name for that? This is why I get what you're saying. It's like me trying to rewrite the history of South America and what their culture was. But I wasn't there from the very beginning. I'm not going to tell the local they're wrong. Yes, sexualization was there long before colonization, but was done differently. Whereby, oh, there was ramification. You touch my daughter, oh, we coming to get you. That was a
It's a wrap.
cultural thing. It was a cultural thing. You will bring your mother and your father come here. Hey, hey, hey. Your son, they found my daughter. She was prep to get married to what you gonna do? Either your son marry my daughter or I cut off his. It was a cultural thing. And they're not
The
coming
funny
from
part, David. I mean, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you sound like a real African there for a minute.
yeah, because that's my gene kicking in. And that's the thing about it. I watched it as a kid. These people didn't care about European culture. They're like, F it, this is how we are in our element. You did find my daughter, you're marrying her. You don't marry her, I'm chopping off your head. Or your parent will pay the dowry. Heads up. That was the thing. I don't care what any American want to talk about. In Africa, this is how they roll. You don't touch no man's daughter. If you go defile her, you better pay up. That's what their culture. That even to this day, they gone to the extreme of using black magic, do all kind of weirdness, so whereby they trying to scare you. Yeah, touch my daughter, see what happened. I can't see. Don't worry, my God go watch you. You don't have that in American culture. There's no threat to scare men from touching people's daughters. That's going on regularly. But over there, it's more barbaric. You don't want to take my word for it, 'cause I've seen it firsthand, living there for 7 years. And I was like asking my peers and my relatives, they say, yeah, some prominent families, they got more manpower than others. So watch the man come outside and tell all his servants and his peers and his kingmen to get on trucks. You see 4 or 5 trucks drove out, and less than an hour later, they come back with a boy wrapped around with rope, dragging him off the truck. And you have people with machetes. And we found out, oh, they got slept with this person's daughter. That's when I'm going to go and get them. And you see no police.
Right.
Police don't get involved in that type of mess. They're like, unless you need us, let us know. That's not our business. See, Wally, thank you. Haitian don't play that either. You play,
Did you drop the link, Pete?
Yeah, I emailed
Marvin?
it.
Yeah.
I emailed it to him.
Haitian are the cousin of Nigerian. They have that same mentality. You don't go and touch my young daughter and think nothing gonna happen to you. Yeah. Now the single mom thing that we're going on, I did my investigation for the past 2 years. That have been a thing whereby, due to what happened after the pandemic, it created a dynamic where a lot of people cannot able to support their family, and some people are taking advantage of it. And how you want to say this? There's no government assistance for a single mom. If you're a single mom, you're a single mom by yourself. You're on your own, which is true. But a lot of these single moms kept to themselves for simple fact it's like a shame because they can't go back to their father. And I'm seeing some of these things that are going on whereby if you get pregnant out of wedlock and your mother and father find out about it, they kick you out of the house. Real talk. Some trying to be more modernized, but those who stuck in their culture, they don't want to hear it because it could do that shame. Yeah, Nigeria make great food though. Yeah, we do, but there is a culture divide right now going on. Like I was telling you in my past podcast, the young generation want to walk away from cultures. But the thing about the culture they walk away from is the fact that there's a unwritten law. You're not supposed to mingle with another tribe. The way why they trying to keep their tribe to survive to this day. Now that have been a bloodline all across the continent. You have people from the Yoruba tribe mixing with people from the Igbo and the Hausa or the Swahili tribe or what. It's like nobody cares anymore. The young generation they had enough. That's not our battle. That's not our problem. So when they blur in with different tribe and different culture, my country alone got $500.
So,
And
David, so are you for or against tribal or intermixing or what have you? What's your? I'm trying to just make sense of what you're saying. I mean, is it?
I'm not against tribal intermixing because that'll be totally unfair because you never know you may find your spouse from a different tribe. But I understand why people want to keep their people within their own tribe because they don't want to lose their history. That's what the debate about. You can't pass down your history to another person who's not part of your tribe. And I get it in a way because other ethnic groups outside Africa practice that same mentality. Look at the Middle East. It kind of weird, but when I had to think about it hard, like what's wrong in dealing with another tribe in history that have been done several times before. Either you find some mutual agreement or something. Sometimes some different clan come together on a mutual agreement. That happened throughout history. But the thing about keeping your legacy, keeping your history, it have become a top line thing. It's as if it's a no no.
Hmm.
We may have to do a gray area show on that, man.
I will come on the show and talk about it, but I've been saying right
Yeah,
now,
is his because I'm hearing now again a lot about history and tradition and culture and whatnot, but is that just overrated? In
I
the
think it
fact
is
that
to a
we
degree.
live in a globalized world, not a localized one. There's very few localized communities left. Is it time that we put an end to any kind of isms
Mm.
that people want to hold on to? Which again, I'm not saying that stuff didn't serve a purpose, but again, I keep referring back to that time I went to the Sierra Leone gathering. My daughter's friends are folks from Sierra Leone, and saw that, and just the generational divide is such where, again, I think, especially if you come here, I think a lot of those traditions and whatnot, they're going to be gone in the next 30, 40 years. I mean, it's just not going to be a thing because the kids today, they don't care about, what we used to call interracial, intertribal, inter whatever. Again, they vibe with who they vibe with. And so, these ideas of trying to keep everybody tied to stuff that doesn't, matter to their world anymore, to a large extent, they barely speak the language. That's the first thing to go. I mean, they understand the language. Like I'm
Absolutely.
sure your kids. I don't know. Did you speak? Did you speak your language around your
I
kids?
here's the funny thing. This is a mixed culture. I'm Yoruba Nigerian. My wife is from that. That's different.
Right.
That's weird. But I want to be surprised. She's family is descended from either Nigerian or African, and it you will never know. But here, what I'm telling you, I have 2 years talking to young group, young generation, and this is not the only thing they're not trying to keep the language. They're not trying to keep the name. I'm finding a lot more Nigerian with an American
Yeah.
name than ever.
Usually, the language is the first thing to go. If they grow up in America, again, they can understand their parents perfectly when they're
Yeah,
talking to them. But
but
if they go back home to whatever, they get laughed at because
but
their dialect
that
is so bad.
that was my experience. Now, with I thought I was losing my mind. 'Cause I talked with a lot of them. I'm seeing a lot of Nigerian last name is Smith or Harry, and they never reached the U.S. yet, but they're getting that name over there, and I'm keep picking their brain. Like, what is going on? Well, they want to prevent going to the issue that other Nigerian or other African went through. When you see our resume, you see our name, you don't get hired quickly. You don't give us English speaking name to make it easier to find jobs.
Honestly, I find that to be the other way around. Quite frankly,
And that what's going on in right now
it's
in the
the
younger
other way
generation.
around. They're much what they would much rather hire. Like, give me a last name, Nigerian last name. Just give me a last name.
You serious in the corporation now? They're not
Yeah,
looking for, and I
and
find that
especially
strange
especially when you talk about school admissions, give me a last name. Give me a last name.
because a
Just
lot
give
of
me a
these
last name.
Ayeni,
Ayeni. If Ayeni's on your Harvard application, they're much rather they would take David Ayeni versus David Jackson.
I'm shocked.
I'm not gonna lie to you, David. It sounds Greek more than anything. No, I'm
Because
being serious.
again,
Yeah,
African American, if you ADOS, again, there's still a stigma with ADOS, but Nigeria, I mean, you're known for like being educated and all those kind of things. A lot of those folks are being admitted at these schools, and African Americans, which a lot of these laws were put in place for, are being passed up for African immigrant students.
And I did not know, but here in Nigeria, this is going on in Nigeria. They're naming their kids
Oh, they changed
American
it.
name.
Oh, that's different. I thought you were talking about here.
No, they're doing it in Nigeria. They're changing their kid name to English speaking name so that when they come out into the US or to the
Eric,
UK,
look here.
they make it in. Yeah, we let Wale in from the back door. We didn't
Yeah,
from the front door.
give him. I'm pretty much done
Yeah,
talking.
let's keep
now.
Wally at the floor for a second. Let me get him in here,
I
guys.
swear, Eric, don't you dare. Getting well. I wasn't gonna be here. I only came in here because
He came to the back door. I didn't see him coming in. I was like, who opened the back door? I didn't know it was
Wally,
him
I
coming
want
in.
to apologize on air. I didn't know you want to come on. That's why I need to send you.
No,
the link.
I
do
mean,
apologize.
I didn't know I was gonna even make it that time either. But no, because there was a point that David was mentioning that because I wanted to throw in there because I know he was asking like what type of man are we looking for. But the thing is, in the midst of like what circling around these relationship topics, however, the thing is you ask that question, but let's be honest here. I don't think so. You can't really ask that question because again, almost every single man out here that has a platform is trying to tell every other young man this is the way to be a man. So there is only one man.
And he has a good point there.
So when you ask what type of man, no, there's only one man because everyone's trying to make them be the same guy. You ain't being you for you. You being you because of another man's holding your dick, or you being you because of some female you just want to, ballygance about.
The fresh and fit model. Yeah.
So yeah. But as far as the culture drop offs, yeah, I don't know. Some for me, I say it like this. It's sort of like I would say, it's like sort of like people just want to be like their own like trailblazers in a sense, because you're trying to be like your own, like you're not trying to work from what they've done. You trying to be your own, but the reality is they've shown that hasn't worked. Like,
But
Mhm.
but here's the thing: the cultural drop or the cultural influence have a tie with sexuality in a different way that we see in the United States. Because when the Paul trying to pull me out there about the sexualization, yes, the sexualization is done completely different on a cultural aspect. There's one well-known TikToker was what she mentioned on an interview that she did on the show. I dropped my jaw. She's in Nigeria, but she's not one of the major tribes. And what they say about keeping purity, it sounds like an extremist, meaning quote unquote they are virgin, right? When she's going to lose a virgin in a marriage, there's a referee there. I want to mention the name. Yes, yes. I dropped my jaw when I heard that, and that's their tribe to prove at fact that she acted. They make sure she stay a virgin, so that we are referee to make sure there's no cheating in the dowry. Meaning, when she break that hymen X, Y, and Z, that referee can confirm yes she was a virgin. Yes, this, and I was like, even the whole almost fell off the chair. I was like, what tribe is that?
wait a minute,
Yeah,
you were
yes.
talking about the one that had the legs both wide open,
And she be doing all the grinding of the gallery or yes,
that
her.
tall one?
Yeah, her name is Gold EK.
Oh,
That one.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
She is popular on TikTok. All you see her doing making all type of natural food and she's selling. But when they interview about her life, she's not in her 30. She don't even look 30. Beautiful skin, everything, but their tribe, you have to go through a ritual for to gain her hand in marriage, but also there will be a referee there. So when she lose her virginity, it will be a verification that she was pure. And I
Wait,
was
whoa,
like,
whoa, whoa, whoa. Back it up. Back it up.
yeah,
Say the last
yeah.
part again.
There'll be a referee there to verify her pureness.
Uh,
In the act,
I'm scared of acids, but how that works?
Hey, you know how the doctors got to always check and go.
Or it could be watching the acting on like okay,
Hey,
you know,
I'm
and
like
just
and
saying,
hey,
and
set.
not
and hear the
worried.
joke. Hear the joke. The referee also had to be a virgin. This is a tribe. I know that tribe exists in my country.
Right, exactly. Hit the doohickey
I,
button.
I saw the video interview. I almost broke my head. I almost slipped on my chair. I was like, huh? What tribe is it again? I know she's not Yoruba tribe. She's not the Igbo tribe. She's not the Hausa. What other dialect tribe is that? What culture is that? And yes, there is a level of sexuality in our culture, but every culture are different. Some culture are gatekeeping purity onto the whole extreme level. There's no free nilly willy nilly. Are we gonna have fun? No, 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 no. If you gotta deal with this woman, you're dealing with for the rest of your life. You don't have no pookie season up in here. Hey, Lord to translate, how you doing? So,
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
so yes, I was shocked when I saw that interview. I didn't know there's such tribe who gatekeep purity in that whole new level. So it kind of like let me start to
I'm
think.
so fucking surprised how
I
that's
mean,
even a
are they
thing.
gatekeeping or are they keeping it safe?
Gatekeeping, meaning not only keeping it safe, don't let nobody. You cannot.
Do they do the
Well,
Or,
thing like a
'cause,
man in
I mean, when you
tights,
use the
bro?
word
Like,
gatekeep, that's sort of different. That's
David,
what
let
I
me ask
know,
you a question. I'm not telling you a smart ass. Do the thing like a men in tights, like they put a thing and a lot, put a key around that thing,
dude,
like
dude.
you remember that movie, right?
Dude, I know. I watched Brotherhood Man in Time. Went to the theater. I almost fell off the seat when I was watching that thing. It was, it was comical, but watching that interview and when she was breaking it, even the host was flabbergasted. You were like, "They'll do what again?" And I was saying the same thing he was saying. I was like, so imagine you want to get rid of culture, but some culture are preventing people from going AWOL with their sexuality. So
This conversation took a turn I didn't expect to turn tonight.
no, it take a
You're
turn,
talking about selling. Now you went from culture holdups.
but here's the thing. You say we don't see if people want to keep their culture or not, but there's some culture are keeping their young men, young women from being sexual animals compared to other society are doing it. But in a way that I never knew it existed, I'm still trying to figure out what other tribe in Africa has something similar to that or close to that.
But okay, wait a minute. But you don't think in general, parents or just people in general, like that are adults with kids, they don't try to keep their kids from giving away their, their
In
sexual.
today's time in this country, yeah, you gotta be kidding me. I was in Florida, living in Florida one time in my younger years, and I heard women tell, "Oh, her mom don't care. She know that her kid will have sex. If you go do it anyway, do it inside the house. At least I know you're safe."
Yeah. But wait a minute. I mean, I'm not mad about that. They said at least you did it in the house that you saved. At least they know. I mean, I can't be
All right,
mad about
guys.
that. I can't be mad about that part.
Yeah, we went to a part I didn't expect.
No, because
Let's
we talk about sex still, but in sex we come to a global stage. You'd be surprised something we don't even know about exist. And I found out about a month ago. And to this day, I'm still trying to figure out what other tribe that have such tie with sex on that extreme level where they make sure it's like a rite of passage. You
It's
know what I'm saying?
called it's called new. Yeah, like I said, some people are trying to be quote unquote trailblazers. They
all
want
right.
to make their own
Let's get our final thoughts in. David, you go first. Bennett, you next. Wally, you last. Is that cool, you guys?
Okay, let me go first. Final thoughts. I never liked this topic because this topic have been argued for more than 2 or 3 or 4 decades. But the fact that it got into a pathway dealing with culture, I realized maybe you should have that type of conversation. What is the two sides of the coin between sex and culture? What culture have their view concerning sex and how they play and dynamic in their own society? Because we in the global stage, no more in the local stage. And here that some tribe in Africa are still raising their young generation in a level of purity so they won't be going wild and amok out here like some of us or most of us have been already. It kind of like make me think about what Mr. Paul just said. Should they forget about their culture and leave it behind? Or they should hold on to it because that's a question to ask depending on the whole dynamic of their culture and their tradition. So the sex sell, yes. It is sucks, yes. The method of the dating market in the US, extremely well. It did. Should you go outside the country? That's your choice. I'm not gonna say you shouldn't, but biblically speaking, yes, man, travel far and wide to find a wife. You don't have to find them local near to you, so don't let no one scare you. If she trying to scare you, she must be a zombie or a hyena. I put a stamp on approval. That's my final thought.
Biology is two things: sex and survival. That's biology summed up in 2 words. Sex is a major part of our biology. So therefore, it's always going to be popular. It's always going to sell. It's going to be something that the human race needs in order to continue to propagate itself. So it's always going to be part of the equation when it comes to just our desire for it, or even in helping to sell products that have absolutely nothing to do with it. Like I said, show me a hot rod magazine. The girl on the cover has absolutely nothing to do with that car, but it sells an image. Is anything that's going to connect sex with whatever it is you're doing. I don't care if it's food. They used to have those cake commercials where the woman's eating the cake very slowly and puts it in her mouth and licks her lips and things of that nature. So anything that you can tie to it, because that's what we are. That's what in the animal kingdom. We're the most amongst the most sexual in the kingdom. So yeah, it's just a part of what it is. Are we overdoing it? Possibly in some sectors, yeah, especially with social media and influencers thinking that it can be used to sell products outside of sex itself. But I don't think there's a major campaign to overly sexualize our kids and things of that nature, at least not through advertising or selling products or what have you. I think there was a lot more of that stuff going on in the 70s and 80s and the age that I grew up in than what I'm seeing now, especially with everything being as PC as what it is. So I mean, that's my two cents on it. But yeah, but there's nothing wrong with sex, especially if you do it in the right environment, which I certainly endorse as president. I endorse sex within marriage, and I approve that statement. So
Put a vote in for the man. Put a vote in for the man. He speaks truth. Oh man. So my final words is gonna be really simple. What I've been saying so far, and that is, men understand the value of sex, and women exploit it. It's just that simple. Because again, I think in most cases, like out of most strip clubs, like I think mostly men have them on those, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. I'm leaving right there.
That's simple.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming up tonight. I said earlier when my open thoughts were three things.
Oh, Eric, I swear to you.
You say that's simple, so that means you should have strip club all across the country. All the women working there.
No, well, that part is one thing, but let's be honest here. Let's be real. Men know it, because why? Men sell the woman in for free. Men always come in to pay. Why? Because of the ladies. You ain't doing it because of drinking. Let's be real. You can just have that at the house.
That's why there's no men night.
Hey, not my freaking problem. At the end of that day, well, eventually, men come eventually.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
I was trying to say
So gracious.
is I said my open thoughts. Again, it's no my personal opinions, no scientifics behind it, no historical. I feel this country was built on three things: guns, money, sex, and it still does the same thing to this day. Do we need to break the culture a little bit, change things around? I think so. We have to view sex in a different way.
Money and sex.
Yeah.
I would actually change the sex for control, because that's what they're doing here anyways.
That's a good opinion. Except that let's do a schedule update really fast, guys. Let's get the heck out of here. I got work. Be at work early in the morning. Where's my schedule?
You picked this topic.
You guys
This topic messed up in the first place. I was like, why this? Didn't Jenny lose her show for this?
Who?
Jenny Jones?
I don't know. If you guys haven't checked the schedule yet, I did update the schedule pattern. I uploaded a lot of videos. I got more uploaded. Yes, Wale and Davis stuff is not up there. It will be up there by next week, the latest. So I have a lot. So check out the schedule.
That's in the email. Don't worry about it.
I got the email. I didn't say he didn't.
I know, but he over here talking about like, oh,
Right,
it's my fault. Like, hey,
on Saturday, we're gonna be talking about the most powerful mecha / mobile suit in a franchise.
Not an argument Saturday.
Yeah, that's why I put it on there. So I guess to update you guys, yes, we are having a gray area. I don't remember which topic is. Do you remember what topic this week is, Paul? Any chance?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, it will be one. And on next Thursday, we're talking about battle with yourself, overcome personal struggles and growth.
Wednesday, we're doing a show on Dragon Ball Daima. We will be dissecting. We don't care. We hurt people's feelings.
Good luck with that one.
Nerves. Oh, you forgot the last Dragon Ball show we had? You were part of it. Hello.
Yeah, I know. But I'm not getting involved with that one because I haven't watched it yet. So, except that, guys. David, last thing before we go.
Last thing. Looking for extra co-host, a female, at least 2 female to join that show or the anime conversation, because we don't want to be feeling kind of shady. We start touching on female anime, and I know I'm kind of biased to a certain degree.
Yes, meaning he's gonna have to make a whole bunch of jokes just to stay alive and help himself.
So I guess you're not talking about Sailor Moon anytime soon.
He's gonna be the one that's gonna be like, "Oh, my pride."
This is why
David, I am warning you now. Woman anime hosts co-host can be very vicious for your health.
I'm okay with it. We need a balance because I'm being honest
Eric,
because
the newest Dragon Ball, the Daima.
because here's the thing: if you bring any female anime into the conversation, you will see a dark side of me that you be like, "Oh my god, what have we done now?" I'll be like, "Eh." So let's keep a balance. So I don't go too far on the dark side.
All right.
That's the
You're on this
problem.
one, buddy.
I am the balance that keeps you from the dark side because you over here
Christ.
are trifling.
Paul, anything else you guys say before we go?
No, I'm good.
Wally?
Stay tuned. The fuckery will continue.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you guys are fucking clowns. See what I gotta deal with sometimes? All right, guys. As always, this was Spartan Institute Network. I am a Ghost Spot. He is Baby Groot. He is
Bear
Mr.
Paul.
President. Wally, the killer down there. As always, stay fresh,
Oh,
stay safe,
man.
and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.